Welcome back to Sentient Synchronicities. Tonight we're going to be talking about the psychosocial, biochemical, and electromagnetic manipulation of the masses, or of consciousness. And this is a book which was originally written by Valerian Valdemort, but which was repurposed and rediscovered and probably best known in this world under the LP of the same title by Jedi Mind Tricks and Hip Hop. So, very fascinating, self-explanatory title, which seems very complex, but is very simple to comprehend at the same time. It's the jargon, the language itself is complex, but the reality that describes is threefold and very simple. It's the same principle as the triangulation of the false trinity of the Illuminati. So they control us through three main points, which is the triangulation of oppression at the top of the pyramid, on the eye, on the dollar. And what that is quite simple. On top, you have the most important point, which is actually what they control us through from the satellites, which is what oversees all of us. That's the technology. That's the electromagnetic manipulation. That's what controls our bodies the most directly. But how can they control us through our bodies, through electromagnetics? Well, they have to put electromagnetic devices in our body in order for them to be able to be controlled. Now, what are those? Naturally speaking, the elements that would electromagnetically control our body and allow us to move around naturally according to the sources and resources that we need, or the sources of resources that we need, rather, would be the minerals and the elements in our body, which are metallic in some natures, or transitional, or which are liquid, or which are gaseous. So different states of matter, solid. So you have the states of matter and transitional states of matter as well too, like, transitional elements, transitional metals, poisons, gems, all kinds of different constitutions in our bodies, which actually make us move electromagnetically in different places. But then, of course, if we have certain corporations of companies, good companies, bad companies, evil companies, you keep good company, bad company, depending on what companies you have, what corporations are actually controlling the technology that's tricking you or enslaving you or manipulating you through satellites above us. So the electromagnetic, and then the biochemical, which is what we put in our bodies, the food, the nutrition, which in some cases with micrometals and microplastics and everything else, its byproducts and everything can also be affected and controlled through these devices that are, technologically controlling and focusing certain beams of energy and then controlling grids of these same energies at disruptive neo-Nazi frequencies to disrupt the chakric frequency of the human body naturally. So that's the electromagnetic manipulation, and the biochemical with the food and with the poisons and chemicals in big pharma, which is also part of our so-called nutrition, but which is really poisoning, pharmakine, poisoner. They put the truth right in front of our eyes. So they are called in Greek professional poisoners, but we consider them healers and doctors and pharmacists. But a pharmacist is a professional poisoner. That's what the name means. Pharma, harm. Literally the same root, and harming, poisoning, pharmakine, pharmakon, right? They're harming and conning you. Same as in government in French, gouvernement, right? Governs and lies. That's what it means in French. What's a mortgage? Mortgage. It's a gauge of death in French. What's good morning? Right? Like you're celebrating a good death. Wake up. Waking up, so you're dead. How many chakras do we have in the body? I say 7, but we have 9 major bundles in the spine alone. Why is there a third eye chakra but no other eye chakras? Why is there a throat chakra but no mouth chakra? They don't want you to speak. They want you to try to formulate thoughts, but you can't speak. You're like a spineless, spine-wandering, ghostly bundle of nerves that aren't properly aligned or adjusted, that are being poisoned and manipulated and targeted with electromagnetic, biochemical, and if that wasn't enough, psychosocial manipulation as well too, which is through politics, through religions, through advertising, through literally, Hollywood, through movies, through music, through your dreams, even, through everything that these influences have within your subconscious mind, within your conscious mind. So crazy amounts of shit that they control us through, and then they try to tell us we have free will at the same time. Can you imagine that? Like, that's some insane shit. So, what do we do with all of that? How do we defend ourselves? Pretty simple. I would say we need to educate ourselves and unlearn a lot more than we need to learn more. We need to uninstall the Microsoft, Bill Gates version of reality we've been forced into. We need to stop using Microsoft quite literally and metaphorically. Unprogram ourselves, switch the operating system, go to a decentralized system, right? Don't let centralized sources of corrupted funds corrupt you. Don't let possessions corrupt you. Exercise your possessions. Exercise quite literally and metaphorically. Let go of all that you own. Let go, but don't necessarily give everything away. Just let go of being attached to it. If it goes away, it goes away. Let it go. If it doesn't, it doesn't. That's fine. Now, if you want more information about this, feel free to look up Revolt Motion online. Look up Revolt Motion on WordPress. Look up Revolt Motion on Bandcamp, Revolt Motion Records, and Revolt Motion on WordPress.com. Feel free to look up. There's piles of revolutionary free information and music there about all of this, but this is not something you'll find anywhere else. It's not something that you'll find in any situation, in any book, in any religion, or in any philosophy, because it's not available for that. It came from Mother Nature. It came from insects, from plants, from totems, from indigenous traditions, oral traditions, from backgrounds that are far older than religions. And that's about all I can say about this for now. And there's no rehearsing, no preparing this. This is all off the top. It was unplanned, unprepared, and it is what it is. So I hope you all have a wonderful day. I hope you realize racism should be an illusion. We can all have many different tones, but as you can see, my turban has some white in it. My skin is definitely glowing golden and red and peachy. So please don't ever be racist towards anyone. And nobody has white or black skin. Some very rare people might have some skin tone close to that, right? But I think we're all somewhere in between the spectrum. So let's stop being racist towards anyone. And let's stop having the misconception that racism is only towards one set of people. And when somebody has told me, and a couple of people have told me before, you can't be racist towards white people, just bigoted. Bigotry also includes racism and is worse than racism, right? It's like one level above racism. So I feel sorry for people, especially melanated people, that say that they're not racist because they're bigoted, because they're so ignorant they don't realize they're even more than racist by saying that. And they're in denial of being racist, which is even worse. So I hope we're living in an age where people realize that white people are not the majority, right? They clearly aren't. White people are a very small minority. And if they're a very small minority, which they clearly are, because the whole planet is not white, very few people are actually white. Very few people on the face of the planet are white. Very few. Facts. Statistics. Nobody can argue that. Nobody actually even tries to argue that, except for, ironically, white people who claim that they're a majority, but they clearly aren't, because everybody else is every other skin tone except for white. So it's an overwhelming majority of people in planets and continents, planets too, across the continent, across the cosmos, but continents and countries on this planet that are overwhelmingly not white in any way, shape, or form. So therefore, if white people are a minority, then that means you can be racist towards them, even as a dominant minority, because they're no longer dominant if they're a minority and they've been lying the whole time. They're recessive in skin tone and genetics and all kinds of ways. They're clearly crumbling. Their empires are falling apart. Their wars and their genocides are being revealed. Their perversions, their civilizations are being revealed as mockeries and, as corrupted, decaying, remnants of archaic religions and decrepit morals and ethics that make no sense. So now, technically speaking, first of all, what I would say is don't ever assume anyone's white, because you're probably fucking up on your assumption just based on a skin tone that isn't actually white anyways. So that means you can't actually assume. You make an ass out of you and me when you assume anything. Second of all, if somebody has a skin tone, please don't assume that means they're racist or evil or stupid or good or bad, right? Somebody could be a rapist that happens to have not a white skin tone. Somebody could also be a really good person that happens to be a white person. Okay, that's possible, right? Quite possible. Probably, actually, absolutely, inevitably possible. So don't get it twisted. Just don't have any bad stereotypes one way or another. That's all I would say. And that's it. If you took it the wrong way, too fucking bad. Oh, by the way, really good TED Talk on that. Super good TED Talk on the racist spectrum. And another super good TED Talk on the queer spectrum, which is that everyone's on the queer spectrum. So if you think you're not, you're in denial. Which is even funnier, because you're still on the queer spectrum, even if you're queerphobic. You're just probably on the bad side of the queer spectrum, like the sodomites and the rapists and shit. But you're queerphobic, which is a different kind of bad spectrum. But anyways, and then there's a racist spectrum for everyone. So if you're like, well, I'm not racist, he's racist, because he just said some racist shit. Because he said that we could be racist towards people that appear to us delusional fucks as seeming white, but aren't. Now you realize how stupid that is, right? Because clearly you can be racist towards a person by assuming what they are. That's inevitable. Automatically that should be racist. Even if the person actually turns out to have been white and racist, you're still being racist by assuming they're white. Because you never know. Like, for example, I'm golden skin, right? Like, it's very clearly golden skin. Now, there's a filter on here, but the filter isn't on it says I'm tripling up my face, not on the color of it. So, anyways, point being, my skin is golden. It's not white. So anything you say against that and assuming that I'm white would automatically be racist. Automatically. And denying it would be even more racist, which is worse. Now, my father actually had brown skin, dark brown skin, and curly afro. So if I look like my father, then people could be even more racist towards me, but they'd still be equally racist, or just more racist, because I'd appear even less white. And then people would be even more racist towards me if they called me that, but they never would, because they'd be like, oh. But I'm kind of in between. Anyways, I'll leave it at that. Yeah, just don't be racist. It's bad for your health. And this has been a paid promotion for nobody. Don't vote for anyone. It's a fucking waste of time. Everything's rigged. Fuck Trump. Fuck everyone that supports him and that supports anything that's oppressive to any sentient beings in any way, shape, or form, especially to the divine feminine and to youth and to the diaspora. Boom, there you go.